happy birthday. Would it be the best birthday present to be able to qualify today?
The best gift for my birthday, or it will be winning this LAN.
Do you think you've got it in you?
We can do it.
I think after your performance in the last chance qualifier, you've got a good shot. Why do you think you became one of the strongest teams in Europe at that event?
I mean, we got experience. We play together since a long time. We have the chemistry, and I think we're just the best.
And you know what? Awful say. Have you got anything to say to the Gentlemates fans?
Gentle! Gentle! Gentle, gentle, gentle!
And there you have it. This could be the best birthday ever, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's head back to the desk.
Oh, man! I am so hyped. Dude, if you told me this was finals, I would believe you. The quality of this lower bracket, so many incredible players, and the fans going wild too. But Viv, Lev, I guess the question is, we've only got room for 25 duos. So who do we think potentially could make it through?
Man, it is going to be extremely tough to see who's going to be amongst the 25. Of course, new format today. If you win, you're in. Let's take a look at my personal predictions for who I think is going to be winning a game today. As you can see, a little shocked to see the likes of like Josh and Yamzo in the lobby here today, but I think they're going to be taking home game number one. I feel like the drop spot is just too good. If you guys are familiar with it, yesterday Acorn and Bolts kind of dominated out of there, so they have some players that they're used to kind of watching over on that side. Mr. Savage and Bella, I will say that I went ahead and threw them up there for winning the game before I knew they were going to be contested today, although I still think they can kind of make it happen. I'm big favorites of Shadow and Virgo. I already talked about them a bunch. Aegis and Rich are going to have the opportunity today to be uncontested. I feel like they've got to be a shoo-in for getting a victory royale. Cheeto and Pablo, triple contested. I personally still believe. And then, of course, I feel like we would just round the day out so nice if we saw Swizzy and Pixie get that last win.
I like your picks. I think we have a lot of similar picks. Let's take a look at mine, though, because there's a couple names that I threw in that I don't think you had. The first one, Vidil and Drew, man. I asked Vidil, if you've been watching EU, if you were watching some of the last chance qualifiers, the second chance qualifiers, this guy just comes second place after second place after second place. It just feels like a pattern with him. I think on the stage, with the backing of the fans, a first place is coming. Akira Karama, the birthday boy, I would like to see them get that done. I'm not gonna lie to you though, again, when we're looking at the likes of Swizzy Pixie, Shadow Virgo, Josh Yomzo, they are players who we can agree on. You'd expect them to come through in this lobby, get a win. Clicks and Higgs was the first name I wrote down though, because I think of all the teams in this lobby, regardless of the off-spawn situation, they are the team that has probably the most experience winning games in set lobby finals, right? I feel like of all the teams we've seen on this stage today, they've probably done it the most of anyone.
And I don't know if you, maybe I'm reading a little too much into this, right? I love you kind of had a moment to talk with Clicks and Higgs, and is it just me, or is Higgs maybe on his Venno arc a little bit? Is he a little bit on that, like, I'm gonna turn heel, I'm gonna turn villain, let me just see what that feels like, Lev?
You know, I think it suits him. I really do think it suits him. And you know what makes it better, Viv? It's believable. Like, I believe him. When he says he don't care, and when he says it's over, it's up for anybody, I really do believe him. And so I hope Clicks, again, has that same belief as far as just following every decision he makes and delivering the goods.
And this has been actually a continuous conversation, so I'm happy you guys kind of brought it up, because it seems like it's completely flipped in terms of the mentality for both of these guys. I feel like going into major number one, it was just all about dedication. They really felt like they had a super good chance to win it, and they did. Then after that, I feel like, you know, hitting the socials and hitting the streams for these two, it kind of feels like they got a little bit more lax and lost a little bit of that, hey, listen, we're just the best. We don't care what's going to happen today. So I'm not entirely sure. I talked about it yesterday. I'm not entirely sure that's a good thing for how the kind of performance can happen in the server. It's going to be a bad thing. They're in the lower bracket, so I feel like so far it hasn't worked out, but maybe today we'll see them a little bit reformed.
I want to see it. I got to see a VR out of Zoe. Josh, I mean, come on, man. You know That would just up that confidence through the roof, set them up nicely for tomorrow. This is so right, man. This can happen.
Dude, I would be super, super stoked to see Yamzo and Josh in the finals. I mean, obviously, Yamzo, a veteran of the game. He knows exactly what to do in a lobby like this, but picking up those players that are a little bit less experienced than Josh. We were talking to Yamzo just a little bit earlier. He's very, very confident in Josh's ability, right? He's like, yeah, maybe he's a little bit nervous, but I did see on socials that the first player in the practice room this morning was Josh himself. So he's been getting ready all day.
Dang, I like the sound of that. It looks so good, sounds so good. Hey, Fortnite fan, don't forget though, venue, we do have that bingo card. I wanted to see if you guys would maybe help us out before we even get into game number 1. Fans, I mean, look, we're looking for the buzz in here. What do we think? Can we maybe get some help from the crowds? I would like to hit an early bingo.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, you're the only one that can make this happen, right?
I mean, look, the M8 fans, they were just bouncing right now. I think if Akira and Kurama win a game, there is no doubt in my mind that they will be stood there celebrating, jumping up and down, doing the Poznan. I would like to see so much from Akira and Kurama. I think they will win a game, and so we might not get to see the most from them today.
Oh, man, Fortnite fam, I'm getting word. The games are ready. This is the lower bracket. Casters, take it away.
Thank you guys, everybody out there, for joining us. This is day number 2, and our analysts broke it down perfect, what is truly at stake. They even have our predictions there on the table. I know I have some favorites that I want to see, but they're going to have to earn it, Taco.
It's just the fact that win and you're in. You can chase that victory royale. You can focus exclusively on it, but just in case you don't, top 19, the consistency metric still playing a key part. So let's see what happens here in game 1. We're already anticipating that things could potentially get very spicy at a few key parts of the map, Jacob. But for some of our duos, they might not be expecting that at all.
Yeah, this is kind of how you feel in the moment. We've had already some players switch up their drop spots. We've had others stick to what they said coming into this Major 1 Summit. Land, you got Wonky Land contested, Riptides contested, so many spots on the map here. But for Sato, they're already contested as well. Marius and I drop right out of the gates, a little bit of a split drop. Both of them getting their respective floor loop, but neither one of them wanting to make that big play. And this could be the moment with Potsai so far away. They have a 2v1, Taco.
Let's see how much of that Verdoxy coach assistance for iJump and Medius in the player lounge pans out this week, because now it's their opportunity to showcase exactly what they've learned. But Potasai, Sato, they're not trying to fold over anytime soon here. Medius, iJump still applying a bit of steady pressure. It's all about finding the first opening shots. Both of these duos don't really have much shield, but it's going to be iJump who actually exchanges the elimination onto Potasai. Sato is left scrambling. He's got to try and bail out.
Man, that's just so unfortunate. Potasai moved on over to try to help Sato take the 2v1, but Sato had different plans. He immediately shockwaves out just to try to survive. And now he's going to be stuck in this game as a solo. And it's not only Marius and iDrop that he has to worry about. It's Shadow and Virgo. It's Osid and Scare. It's Josh and Iamzo, Golden and Ozone towards the top of the mountain. There's so many threats around this lobby.
But it's definitely got to feel great to put into practice or real-time application what you've been practicing all week. And for Sato, though, he has had the opportunity to at least try and build up his shields. He's looking to try and escape it, but action's always taking place on the map, and Yanis takes down Randu, waiting for the finish to come through, and it's just that easy.
Yeah, another player kind of just getting stuck as a solo here early on, but at least it's not over for them yet. Chap Flixie, they kind of know that to be true, and playing in the upper bracket yesterday, even though things don't go your way, you gotta look at the flip side of things. You gotta realize that now you have more experience in person, playing in front of a crowd, playing with those nerves, and for Chap and Flixie, I feel like they gotta be one of our teams in that top 19 consistency.
Tough break there, though, if you're a controller and Haman, but at the same time, Flixie and Chap probably very happy knowing that they're not going to be as contested for this starting point. They were dealing with Leo and Romero, I believe, who already had their success in the upper bracket. So here today, it's time to stand out.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about, you know, the upper bracket and the lower bracket. You have teams just like that, Lewa and Romero, they win the fight, right? They're going into Championship Sunday. As of now, they might be uncontested, but it's going to be up to these guys to really prove that they belong there. Gino and Pablo Ingu, probably one of them as well. Sandy Strip, it went from double contested, triple contested, and at one point you saw the whole lobby with Sato trying to run away, and this is what I thought. You have to worry about so many, but Josh is down. Iamso's in the 1v1. Sato is not going down without a fight, but Iamso with a huge HP advantage, has some extra shields and the quick heals. He's going to disengage, try to get the revive back onto Josh. That's going to force Sato to make a decision. Do you pressure, not let him get the revive, or disengage and survive?
Sato just didn't want to take the risk. The fact that he was even able to bring down Josh Riley in the first place is incredible scenes, and you can see already what took place. The lurk, the playmaking opportunities that Sato's trying to bring to fruition. But of course, Gino, Pablo, right back to it for Strokey repairs, trying to see if they can hold out. Pablo's ready, though, just smacks repairs straight for the first elimination, and now it's all up to Gino to see whether he can close things out. But Pablo, he's not finished. He wants to see if he can take out for Strokey with it, and sure enough, two big eliminations to start the day.
Perfectly played by Gino and Pablo there in that situation. They realize that fast Strokey lands over towards 4 fields, which is a contested fight. Them staying alive, they just went on over for loot, and they just got caught out of position so many times on almost every region. That Sandy Strip jump that surprises so many people, catching them off guard. As you jump on board King and Phaser over towards the side of the mountain, they already have that first elimination, and it looks like they're trying to chase down the second.
Get a chance to actually look back and see what took place. King and Phaser just running straight into where Sato was hoping that he could have yet another success shot to bring things down, but unfortunately it all crumbles right underneath his feet. Phaser, King, that's just their loop path. They're pushing north. They're not directly fighting Clicks and Higgs just yet, but that might change later on today.
Yeah, it definitely will as the games go on. Where you're at on the leaderboard will really play a role in how you get to play out the rest of your games. But it sounds like the fan favorite Vidil and Ju rotating in the second zone relatively early, but if you look at their loadout, they're maxed up on materials. Their loadout in terms of heals is as best as it could be, minus maybe a chug, so they have nothing to worry about for the next couple of zones. Meanwhile, on the whole southern side of the map, Randu's already down. GRX is trying to decide what loot he needs to bring with him, and it's a 1v1 against Chap.
And the problem right now for Chap is that he was not expecting to be without Felixi, but everyone is just creeping around these building corners. It's as if everyone's just playing a horror game of Fortnite right now.
Yeah, you kind of saw it in the beginning of the game in the feed that Yanis did take down Randu in that exchange in their off-spawn fight. GRX is trying to stay alive, just like anybody else. If you have at least 500 gold, you don't even need to pick up that reboot card. You go straight to the reboot van and you can buy your teammate back. And that's why you see so many players shockwaving away from the fight before their teammate even goes down to try to give them a chance.
Kurama and Akira, though, hanging out by Battlewood Boulevard, you have to remember a big part of the reason why they were able to make it to this summit in the first place was receiving that initial coaching from
stream, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Solid strategy for
But
how they want
the
to play
game being
through this
heated so
north side
far.
position of the POI, but at the same
I
time,
just like the
when
competitive
you're
of the game right
depending
now.
on so much storm
They're
play
regular.
opportunity, you have to expect there's other teams still waiting around too. Teams that are a little bit more scuffed. That's what they're banking on, is going at night, trying to see if they can find Chap in the mix of it all, and Chap doing what he can to just push them back.
Yeah, you can kind of see a whole new sense of gameplay here, but Chap shuts him down. That's going to bring it down to a 1v1. Gon's going to regret that one later, and now it's time to unleash the beast. Chap trying to push in, get pressure, push Knight back, and you see him backtrack for his revive, and he's letting him get away with it. And this is big, because Flixie was already rebooted once, and now with a fresh body of loot from Gon, they are back into the game.
There is nothing worse than thinking you have every advantage. Gon and Knight knew that Chap and Flixie were hurt. They knew it was a fresh reboot, and yet they still couldn't come out on top in that situation. The momentum shift, it can swing that rapidly, and now you're left to wonder, what's Knight going to do? Where's his recovery going to take place?
Yanis and cheating again. They got that one elimination off spawn floating around. They probably heard the reboot and all that action going down around New Sanctuary. And the way this side of the map works, New Sanctuary is like in a canyon down below, and you got all these mountain ranges up above, and they're using that to their full advantage to try to get damage. Storm Surge, that allows them a lot of mobility and freedom throughout the mid game.
Definitely a little bit worried though for their surge strategy. They spent a lot of time investing into playing for that reboot, right? They just absorbed a lot of damage in the process of that first escape, so have to wait and see what takes place next. But Velo and Savage, Squibbly Shores, contested, uncontested, it's all up in the air right now. You can't expect anything to stay the same. Not with only 6 matches to work with, and obviously because of the Victory Royale format here, Jacob, teams might just send the Hail Mary. Sphinx, Muzz, maybe that interview was all a distraction factor, because these guys are creeping around Squibbly right now. They're trying to figure out who's gonna be the first one they encounter in these buildings.
I hope Velo spotted him out. He's in that surge tower. He has the bird's eye view. I know we saw what he doesn't necessarily get to see, but Sphinx and Muzz are closing the distance. A good opportunity to at least get damage onto Mr. Savage. And since his teammate is so far away, they can try to go for the Elim. 50 shield gone just like that. And now they're trying to push in. Savage trying to extend his distance away. Off the top of that surge base, a shockwave. Velo's trying to make his way on over and bring it to a fair 2v2.
Immediately, Velo doing everything in his power to try and reunite with Savage. He wants to make sure that Muzz and Sphinx don't have the opportunity to just dive bomb into where he's boxed up. And Savage, he's not interested in the fight whatsoever, hasn't necessarily taken that many surge tags in the process, so they can still disengage here.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys.
Especially with how
And check out the new video that I have now
were
post.
initially, again, Velo using that surge tower just wasn't able to spot out Lurk from Muzz and Sphinx.
I just wish that I could have played
Nalu
in
Rainy over
FNCS,
towards
but
Riptides. Epic
I
Whale
see
Pump
them.
towards Riptides
I
as
don't
well.
really have the
Pump is fresh
equipment,
off
so.
of a reboot. Epic Whale forced to stay alive and get his teammate back into the game.
I
But now
don't
they're
wish
just
that,
getting
that I play in
approached one
FNCS.
step
It would
at
be
a
so
time. They're getting closer and closer to
enjoyable
trying
to
to
play in
fight.
FNCS.
A big momentum swing
Enjoy
here
the
too, though,
moment,
for Jace
everything.
and Liam. One elimination apiece tells me that they got the better end of the exchange between Daya and Bobby, and it's always going to be a rough start, but Liam, Jace, whether or not they actually managed to find one of those original Painted Palms teams could be left to say, but at the same time here, Jacob, it's your first LAN, right? It's your first real appearance, and yet they're playing like there's no pressure at all.
Yeah, playing like he's at home. I bet you got his shoes kicked off, pockets empty, and just kind of feeling himself. In that interview there in the pregame, he was feeling confident. Yanis cheating, staying around Sus Studios. It is a vending machine nearby where they are going to use it to either buy some med kits, patch up, or any shields if they do need it, so they can extend their stay here inside of the zone versus some of the other teams on the outskirts, including the one they just got tags on. They don't have that same luxury.
If they've been keeping an eye on the elimination feed, though, investing some time in Storm here at Sus could definitely work in their favor, because that initial off spawn over at Riptides, it's so easy to third-party commit to, but for Chat Flixie, they've also been largely just trying to play for the leftovers after that initial hiccup off spawn, and now Flixie Chap, they might not realize that these vendings are already still being camped out.
Yeah, and you see them kind of staggering their med kits. First it was cheating, Janice ready to hold the wall, and then Yanis was able to do it as well. Chap and Flixie know they're there on the other side, probably got the audio visuals of the heals, but they're 200 above. They don't want to force the fight and force themselves in a bad situation like Minute and Salco here, 154 below. Their material count is not good either, so it's almost in a situation here where they have to win this fight, because if they disengage, they're going to be left with scraps.
But Nikush already called it out, though. They're looking for the win outright. They could find it. Minute, a little bit overexposed here, but Nikush still having to push back. Now Salco's gonna actually be the first to fall, and just like that, Minute and Salco find themselves eliminated from the lobby yet again. No chance to see what's actually going to unfold for them in the remainder of this lobby, but just a great opening from Tiggs, doing an excellent job to really catch Salco off guard.
Yeah, they were so worried about Danny Kush that they just lost track of Tiggs, who had control of the wall. You see back-to-back shots to take them both out of the game and can start to build that confidence, just like Clix and Higgs here. Even though they were contested by King and Phaser over at Wonky Land, they didn't want to fight it out early. They're just sitting straight to their strategy. On the other side, though, fresh off the reboot means you are likely below that damage threshold. For Epicwell and Pump, this fight is everything for game one.
They're just running out of time. They don't have the damage. They barely have the heals for it. Nalu and Rainy are just continuing to stall us out, and Pump, he's even out for the count entirely here. Nalu, Rainy, they'll also have the benefit of the Siphon now ticking over. They've got more than enough pizza slices too, and Jacob, we're in a 2-tick. This situation just is so compromised right now. That initial off-spawn fight for Whale and Pump, it's just not boding well.
And you see Pump just trying to go for a quick shot. Needed a miracle, doesn't get it. Nalu and Rainy, they're able to win that one, but they have about 50 or so seconds to make it to the zone. You said it yourself. By now, it is going to be a 2-tick, but once this one closes, we're going to be moving to a 5-tick, so it doesn't matter how many heals you have. You don't want to have to expend it early before you reach the zone, before you reach this end game.
Definitely a little bit more pep in their step, though, after finding those 2 eliminations. Maybe the surge damage will help them overcome the rest of the obstacles still left to deal with here. Skyjump and Momsy, a very scrappy French duo. They've got Sphinx and Muzz in their sights currently, but Cliffface will cut that line of sight. Still, maybe a little bit caught if they decide to clash with the Kira and Karama. There's no guarantees, but the way that they were kind of trying to set up against Muzz and Sphinx, it almost seems like they need the damage, and sure enough, 42 below on Surge. Just one tap.
Yeah, you don't want that surge to activate, really forcing your hand, but Momsy does more than that. Hits a nice shot on Akira and Karama. Now they're below the damage threshold, and this is the back and forth we see, whether if it's rotating through zones or in box fights like this. It's just a tough way to kind of go out, and Higgs is feeling the pressure as well. They were over 100 above the damage threshold last time we seen him, and now he's fallen 157 below. Clix is gone, and now Higgs forced to clutch up here in game number 1.
It's incredible, though, that Higgs is even in this position in the first place, 157 below, but look at where the zone has pulled to. It's wonky. You would think this would be ideal, but the fact of the matter is, as a solo, Higgs has to really dig deep here if he wants to manage to make it out for a solid placement.
Yeah, 10 teams need to go down before him or Velo are granted any points, and they're both below the damage threshold. Velo, not so much. He needs one shot, whether it's the AR or the shotgun, to land without taking much, but he gets tagged up again above, right back down below. Velo now has to be perfect with these heals. Zone moving in, and I think this is the end of the road for Velo in game 1.
Just didn't have any other options here, and Higgs might meet a similar fate. He also needs damage, but he also has to stay moving, trying to see if he can catapult himself somewhere else in the lobby, trying to build up. Supply crate, fortunately, going to drop just in the nick of time here, but he's still getting lit up by these surge tags. Medkit and a shield potion, decent amount of materials. He might be able to turn this one around, and just like that, the surge thresholds are just teeter-tottering above and below, but he's still trying to see if he can wait things out.
Yeah, 184, essentially a full elimination worth of damage, but where this zone goes is either going to help him or hurt him. If it goes up the side of the mountain, that's going to give him so many shockwave opportunities to get damage. And Higgs, he has to earn it, but he was just blessed as the zone moves up the side of the mountain, but he peaks, he takes a lot of damage, but it just goes to show how chaotic this endgame's going to be.
Excellent looks right now, though, for Pablo. He's just been on fire in this lobby. 3 eliminations, looking to still add more to it. But poor Higgs, man, you just have to think these are the moments where you really cannot afford to panic. But not only that, even if you know this POI so well, you also know that when teams are already established on the mountain face, they're looking straight at everyone else underneath. The moment you open up that wall, teams already trying to apply pressure, forced to drop, forced to try and make a play. But Higgs, he's just got nowhere left to run to. Everyone else has already left the vicinity. He's just too late to the party, and the surge will take care of him.
Yeah, with no eliminations, not inside of the top 25, that one's going to sting. Drew's going to be by himself, 25 at least above the damage threshold. 11 players need to go down, and we will no longer have Storm Surge in this game. So he has 2 different options here. here. Keep popping off like he's doing, or he could try to out-heal it. He has more than enough of those HP heals in his inventory, but he's just waiting for the zone to push everybody from the backside of the zone forward. That's when he's going to get the green light to go, but he falls 87 below. So not only does he have to rotate, he has to find damage.
He also had to invest practically all of his hard material just to protect himself, but he's now straight looking at Reckless and Alex. Some great tags there. Going to permit him to be just 21 above, but Chino, Pablo, disaster has struck. Maybe they got a little too fraggy with it. Chino still hunting for more, but he's not going to be able to find it. Still 5 eliminations, decent amount of points just for game 1.
I think everybody out here is feeling that feeling of deja vu from day 1 with a lot of these zones going towards the top side of the mountains. That first one, it was steady. Now we're going towards the back side of those mountains. It's going to be hard for players to survive, especially the ones with no material and is a solo. Kurama needs a miracle to happen here. Some sort of siphon. He needs some sort of help, and right now it's not what he wanted. It's the complete opposite. They're pressuring him out, getting to expend everything he has left.
The one silver lining is that the threshold for Surge won't be coming into effect. We've already had enough players get eliminated, so one big shot could be the difference maker here. He's going to need to find the perfect opportunity, though, and he doesn't necessarily have time because the longer it takes him to get into zone, the more established other players are going to be looking towards that backside of zone. Jargu and Carillion too, ultimate low ground. They've been sitting behind the rest of the pack, and look at Mattias now trying to make his approach, but as a solo, how far can he really go?
Yeah, with no extra shockwaves, no real material to build up or protect himself. He's just crouching, trying to hide the audio and the visuals so nobody can sneak up. But now the zone's going back up over the top of the mountain. You can try to recycle builds, but it ain't gonna be easy as Ju's able to get it down onto 1. Pix is gonna fall, but he's not going to get taken out. Teammate saving the day there as Marius lands a shot into Virgo. That's a huge warning of where he's positioned.
But man, is he still wishing that that would have just been the one to give him the full knock? Then he could have had that elimination, but way up top, Josh Riley has managed to overcome the mountain phase. Still, Swizzy, Pixie hunting for more, looking down at the team struggling to try and scale their way up. Ager's all by his lonesome, but we know exactly what he's capable of. He's trying to see if he can bring a refresh into the picture, but instead, it's going to be Tiggs and Danikush making things oh so complicated for everybody underneath.
1 of 5 solos left down below. Danikush and Tiggs all the way from OCE. This could be their moment to shine on the big stage, but they still got to go through Pixie, Swizzy. These guys are here to make a name for themselves on the international stage like they haven't already. Pixie, Swizzy, they're still being challenged into the box. Ghost gets taken out. They are part of the global champions for a reason.
Not only that, but they're one of the only fully intact duos left in this lobby. Virgo, Agers, solos underneath them. Josh is fallen, but with 4 eliminations, decent placement to boot. Tiggs, Danikush, they start dropping. They needed to get those siphon materials. Now they're gonna ramp back up. Tiggs trying to see if he can provide a little bit of air coverage here, but Pixie and Swizzy are 2 men on a mission. Pixie trying to see if he can connect. Needs one more, needs the siphon mats. He knows that he can't afford to keep taking those peaks. He knows that the angles aren't in his favor, but Agers cut off in the process. Virgo's still falling to Swizzy. Pixie gets Agers. A 2 versus 2 to try and round things out.
9 eliminations already. This is the chance to get your spot on the bingo board secured, but that one gets ripped away. Tiggs from up top, taking down half of the global champion, but it is going to be a 1v1. Pixie gets his get back. It's him versus Tiggs. No shields at the current moment for each of our players, and he's trying to put pressure down from above, but Pixie is able to go to the sidelines, finds a crevice, gets the shields off, and this is it, Taco. It comes down to who wins this game is going to finals.
Tiggs knows he's got to get up close and personal. Pixie doing his best to try and mantle up, mantle forward. Pixie nearly connects. Tiggs is out of here. Swizzy and Pixie, maybe that night of rest was all they really needed because they are done with today.
There's one thing I've learned. You don't poke the bear, Frankie.
Don't poke the bear, indeed. My word, Pixie, you as a solo up against Tiggs in the 1v1. What was going through your head there? It was a cat and mouse game.
I mean, it's a 1v1. It's a win for me.
You are known as one of the best fraggers in you. And for you, Swizzy, watching this man make things quick and easy for you in the lower bracket, what was that like?
That was really easy. Got my rest, we win. I said like we're gonna reset tomorrow. We also wanted to go high, but this zone we couldn't.
I was going to say that was such a difficult mountain zone for you. How did you manage to make it to the top and get out of that sticky situation?
I mean, we learned from our mistakes yesterday and we took priority on our rotates. So we just fixed everything that did wrong yesterday and now we won the game.
Well, you get to leave the stage in just a moment, boys. What's the plan now to get ready for tomorrow?
Get on con, get our sewers, and probably take high and don't die.
Don't get eliminated. It's really something we can all live by. Let's head to the break, and after that, more Fortnite.
I got hit with that one off. I'm popping a med bit. Wait, short. You got 6 builds? No, max up. Wait, if you're mid, wait. 100! 100! Oh my god! No! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Absolute cinema! Love it! Didn't get out of the way. Love it, let's go! Swizzy Fizzy! They did it! Oh my gosh,
Lee, tell them to post the stats now. All of you opportunists that were hating on Pixie in Grands, posting all your stats, post them now. My boy went crazy. Swizzy, sitting back watching, all the belief in the world. Because when you have a teammate that is flying, like Pixie was there, hitting every shot he needed, all the composure in the world, man. And again, this is why last year everybody Vivid was saying this guy is the best fragger in EU because of moments and performances like this.
Clutched up on one of the biggest stages of Fortnite has to offer. Not only that, A lot of talk, right? Swizzy and Pixie didn't qualify through the upper bracket, man. Can they make the run to the lower bracket? Game one, that conversation is already finished. And I was worried coming into the day because I mentioned it, our global champions of last year, Queasy, Mustache, Swizzy. I was like, there's no way we can have a finals at Summit without any of them. And Swizzy shut me up real quick, clutched up game number one. They're going to finals.
Hey, and Vivid, that's 1 for 1 on the predictions.
1 for 1,
That's 1 for 1. We're looking good, bro. We're looking good.
Man, congratulations to them. That's the Swizzy and Pixie we kind of expected to see yesterday, but again, it's all good. They now focus on tomorrow's finals. We will not be seeing them compete again today, but that's okay. A big sigh of relief for the duo. That's all it takes, Viv. One good game like that, we see them rise up the standings, make it on through the finals.
Absolutely crazy stuff. Although there is a team, right? We were kind of expecting a big performance out of the duo there, but there was a team on the higher gun for the entirety of that end game that I feel like we did not expect a second place out of. It did look like they were going to win the game at one point. Danny Crush and Tiggs representing the Middle Eastern region. We were kind of worried that we were like, man, are we going to get any of these smaller regions to qualify through finals? I mean, we had a handful come through the upper bracket. Is the lower bracket going to feature any? Immediately a second place spot. Yeah, they didn't get the win, but that puts them in such a great spot on the leaderboard.
I mean, big ups to Tiggs. Watching the highlights here, we see so many players with it. Some of the best players this game has ever seen. In situations like that, where you've run out of match, you've run out of everything, you just need a refresh. I've seen Prime Peterbot need a refresh at times, and he maybe just can't quite get it. Every single time at the end there, Tiggs needed to get the limb. He managed to just find the loop he needed to keep him going. Super unfortunate, again, not winning the 1v1 there, but still a great game for these two.
Hey, but check this out. Let's go down this list a little bit further,
My
right?
gosh.
Yamzo, Josh, Agers in Ritual, them NA names we're used to seeing. I love seeing they're in that final game. We actually saw them be eliminated, but Yamzo and Josh took that fight to the high ground. You know, Levin, this is so exciting to see them finally have that moment on stage. We get to see them in game, and I love that they're fearless.
I mean, this is a special day for these two. Because really and truly, again, when you're talking about some of the best teams in NA Vivid, these guys are up there. Josh in particular, his story is unbelievable. The fact that this guy is playing on this stage next to Clicks because he got a PC from Clicks, like that in itself is just madness to me, and a big start on the day, showcasing why this guy is seen as the next Peterbot in NA, the next big talent, the next big thing. He doesn't even look like the next big thing as far as talent-wise in NA. He has just been the best, right, at times, right? He's had so many great performances in Div Cups of late. Iomzo, we know what he can do. Seeing them do it on the stage in this first game was special, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing them continue to cook up.
Yeah, I picked up some solo points, as you can see there, and I got to tip my hat to the duo because early on off spawn, obviously they are uncontested, but an early push, you know, towards their way, they overcame though, man. They got the elimination there and it kind of snowballed into the late game. Obviously, we kind of saw where the zone ended up. It did pretty much land where they do land in the early game, but obviously, you know, sometimes these games are not easy to play out. They made it look easy.
Can't lie, man. I'm excited. Aegis Ritual. I'm looking. I need these guys to qualify on through, right? Seeing them already have this strong start. Remember, big reminder, the format today is you either get the Victory Royale, you win and you're in. That's it. You don't have to play any more games, or we need to end in the top 19. This is a very strong first start for the duo, Viv.
Absolutely. As you can see early off here, Ager's kind of left alone. And I feel like the story throughout the weekend, at least in these early couple of games, has always been the fact that there are just so many solos left alive in these lobbies. And making the most out of it is going to make the difference right there. As you can see, after he goes down, just feeling, you know, cool, calm, and collected. Hey, fist bumps all around, feeling good.
I don't worry about these two at all. I think when you look at the talent, the experience, the quality, I think these guys, whether they win a game, whether it will be through consistency, I think these guys will make it back. I think the biggest worry for me is just I'm just looking to Sunday and looking to see them in a position again, contested at Latte. We're not going to learn much from them today because it's going to be a completely different situation if they're able to qualify. And so, again, hopefully we see them continue to play their game and just warm into things a bit more.
couple of duos there, though. I'm a little worried about, right? We saw Clicks and Higgs fall a bit short. Akira, Kurama.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, look, again, it's just game one. I don't want to worry too much, but boys, we only have 5 more games, right? We need that VR. We need to be in top 19. Very, very tough, but it's all good because we've got game number 2 ready to go. Whatever happened in game number 1 doesn't matter. Every game can be a new game for these duos. So let's get ready to hop into game number 2.
One thing I can't help but notice here, though, Jacob, is the fact that some of our duos that weren't able to actually have that standout performance in game day number 1 have managed to succeed here in game day 2. So the best benefit of that, you know, a duo like Ritual, Agers, I think that you have to remember they're already high up on the leaderboard. Now, if you want to put through on consistency, one more performance like that, and they're in it to win it.
Yeah, basically locked and loaded. And typically at this point in time, I'd be like, if a team wins, their drop spot is open. I'll tell you more about that in a second, because game 2 is ready. As I was saying, usually a drop spot opens up when a team wins a game because they're no longer in the lobby. They advance directly to Championship Sunday. But if you look at where Pixie and Swizzy were landing, it was kind of a triple contested fight. So it's not going to get easier game 2.
Yeah, they already had plenty of company, but they managed to move out. They left everyone else behind. They'll worry about that for tomorrow. Vazen and Gerald, though, intent on contesting Epic Whale and Pump here at Riptides. But all that's going to do is extend an open invitation for the third-party scenario. All throughout Chapter 7, any teams that have been contesting each other at Riptides almost always results in both of them just getting wiped after the fact because it's such an easy position to get third-partied.
Yeah, especially with everyone around them uncontested. But Clicks and Higgs, they're going to go ahead and take that long glide strategy. They're going to go ahead and get the top side of Wonky Land. You kind of saw there in a second on the map. King and Phaser are already down there on the south side of Wonky Land, already trying to loot up. That gives them a little bit of a timing advantage over Clicks and Higgs. So if they get a loadout, in theory, Taco, we can see them play aggressive. But I drop with 1 elimination. But y'all will notice Marius is down.
Some unfortunate stuff, but sometimes the bus path does happen to work against you. And for other players in the lobby, they're always going to be looking up the moment that they touch down, trying to lock in that early surge. Chap, victimized yet again. Bon and Knight are really trying to deliver a lot of fight here at New Sanctuary. This southeast portion of the map just so active because even over towards the southwest, Epic Whale Pump, they're still trying to see whether or not they can even start this engagement with Gerald and Basin.
Yeah, and you're talking about other players moving on over. That's going to be Nathan on the top side of Riptides. He's forced out because Muzz and Sphinx were able to get that first elimination onto Nebs, but that just kind of puts Epic Whale and Pump in the middle, distracted by 2 different opportunities. The main focus is going to be the OCE town down below of Basin and Gerald, where they have to watch out for any lurk plays. If they lose sight of them, that could be the end.
It's always hard to keep track of where exactly the lobby is moving towards, but for Giannis Cheatin, anytime you see that Flowberry Mist Grenade, you know there's a duo surrounding it, Xavier and Cazers. First time on the big stage, but they are still looking to try and pop off, really make a name for themselves. But those gray loadouts, not exactly what you want to be rocking up against some of EU's finest.
Yeah, we're already seeing some teams switch up drop spots, not necessarily going toward Dark Dominion where Swizzy and Pixie just qualified out of. We're seeing them drop at little points all around the map. Even Giannis cheating, taking a different approach to this game. Instead of staying at studios to get their elims, they immediately are moving on out. Skyjump, Monty, they find themselves in a pickle against X-Pawn and Doxy. 2v2 situation, and X-Pawn's gonna get that first knock onto Skyjump. Needs the elimination for the Siphon. HP is dwindling, but he has a couple of seconds. He has his teammate by his side. Momsy's gonna spray through the builds. He's gonna pre-fire to get that elim, leaving Momsy with no choice. He has to run and disengage for a second chance at life.
Normally when you see players lose like all of their HP, you expect them to just pull back. X-Pawn was having none of it. He said, you want to step up to me? Momsy tried his best, threw his name into the hat, but he just wasn't ready to witness his duo fall. Just 3 back-to-back-to-back pumps, and that is really all it takes for X-Spawn to bring down Skyjump.
They really had him pincered, 2 different angles. He is literally just throwing haymakers to stay alive. But Ju and Badil, 18 points from game 1. It's not where they have hope to land on the leaderboard, but it's about slowly but surely building up that confidence. When we look at consistency, it's going to be the top 19. They are just outside of that as of now, but King and Craze, they're looking to advance on a Cheatin' and Flixie. First elimination, that one's going to be easy. Cheatin' was left by himself. You can see King and Craze just dissected Yanis and Flixie to get the eliminations. Or I should say Cheatin', sorry.
Crazy and King Lane, they'll still have more work cut out for them, but 2 eliminations to round things off, that's always a nice little confidence builder. Granted, those two definitely had plenty of it, even heading into today's competition. Velo and Savage, though, checking back in on what's been building over near Squiggly Shores. Not surprised to see Velo in the surge base, and Agers with another elimination here onto Veloz. Ritual got to be feeling very good about what his duo has been able to bring forth here today. Yesterday, things a little bit shakier, a little bit more difficult, but even with Agers being a bit under the weather, his gameplay here today isn't looking like it.
Yeah, especially being uncontested. You play with a whole new freedom, knowing you got the entire POI to yourself. With 1 elimination, they know Jonas is going to be by himself, 2v1, trying to attack from both angles, jumping up and down, not trying to let him heal, not trying to let him get a breath of fresh air, and another shot from Agers going to connect. Tries to spray into the box, not enough to get the knock, but him and Ritual are side by side. They're working together to make sure that they both don't take too much damage, but they're still in position to clean up this elimination.
And what's wild to think about is Ritual and Agers, they're fighting for their spot to try and get that rematch up against Reet and Cooper in tomorrow's finals. Agers still trying to see if he can finish what he started here, and sure enough, Ritual's gonna get the cutoff points there onto Jonas. 2 eliminations now for this duo, and a lot of wiggle room here because Latte Landing is wide open.
Yeah, and this is a team that you don't want to see get heated up, because when they start going, they are hard to stop. And now that they got their early game surge with those 2 eliminations, they're going to go back on over to Latte Landing. They have plenty of heals. They have a good enough amount of gold where they can use that mending machine, which allows them to overstay their welcome and use that long launch pad towards the back.
Oh, you can see it coming. Pablo waiting for the piece up, and sure enough, nowhere left for Minifio to run. What a box in, and Chino, the other half of the duo, standing out here on his own accord. A great set of eliminations for these two.
Yeah, all it takes is getting caught off guard 1 simple second. And that's what we've seen, you know, for the past couple of months. A lot of these lurk plays come into action, especially when players with these new surge changes, they're kind of just boxed up. They're in their towers, they're at their POI, and they don't expect to get snuck up on. And more it continues to work and find success here in this game. But just like I was talking about, Agers and Rituals, long launch pad, Josh and Iamso have the same thing. It takes you further, it takes you farther. You throw the Fizz in the mix, and you can across the map, but Xavier, Caesars, they're trying to sneak attack onto Liam, and that first one looked like it was gonna work, but Liam turns, he burns him down, leaving Xavier by himself. 2v1 situation. They were confident before the game for a reason.
This is the nightmare scenario now, because that should have been it. Liam, though, he might still wind up being knocked here if he's not careful. Xavier is still just fighting, maybe even to restore a little bit of pride after that one. You think that you get the sneak attack, instead it's 180.
Jace instantly dropping that Fizz bomb. They're not in the zone just yet, so HP, you can see them trying to get the elimination, save it for the Siphon, but it's getting a little bit too risky. Liam 1 shot away from going down by Xavier, so he's instantly trying to pop that Chug, and they're not necessarily pressed right now to move quick. They're outside of the zone, not taking damage, and they have about 20 seconds before the zone forces them in, but they have to be careful. Another team in the distance, and that's gone in Night, and they've already switched up their drop spot. They contested Chapter and Flixie, they eliminate him out of this game, and now they're ready to do it again here.
But if you're Liam and Jace, you don't have any reason to leave anytime soon. You know that Xavier is a solo. You know that you have more than enough white heals to actually extend your time inside of the storm. And not only that, but why not get more surge if you can? An isolated solo is going to be your best bet for another points opportunity off the elimination. Xavier trying to see just how much time he can really bide here, but Liam, Jace, they are feeling very aggressive, and I can't blame them. I mean, trying to sneak up on me?
Yeah, for Liam and Jace, though, I agree with you. At first, when it was a 2v1, you got to kind of take the fight. But the longer this one goes, Xavier is actually landing shots back. So even if they get this elimination, Taco, what does that do to their surge plan? Especially since Gone and Knight are still waiting just outside of this fight to beat anybody that breaks through those builds. So Liam and Jace, they have to make a decision, and they have to make a decision quick if this fight is worth it.
Could be possible for them to just opt for a further east rotation. We try and avoid where Gone and Knight are actually situated. Sometimes you gotta look elsewhere. Somewhere that has opened up just a little bit. It's going to be Dark Dominion, but it is bumping as ever. So many teams already in this POI. And for Koyota and Yuma, I think there's a lot of questions up in the air. Are they going to be able to have some of that practice game success? We saw them collect at least an extra bando off of delivering a victory royale in that performance, but this is the best time to do it. I mean, you want to be in the finals.
Yeah, and typically we kind of look at these guys. So when it comes to these international lands, they usually have some tricks up their sleeve. They're probably trying to save it for finals, but boys, we got to make it there. This is going to be your best chance as we go back on over towards New Sanctuary. Liam and Jace, they're still busy off the side of the map, but Salco and Minute have now gained the attention of Gone and Knight inside of the New Sanctuary. And Minute and Salco went down last game because of Storm Surge. They're not trying to make the same mistake twice, but he overpeaks. Knight lands a good shot, punch after punch. They're just taking too much damage before Salco answers back with a shot of his own.
That's going to be enough to deter Gone and Knight, waiting to see whether or not they'll be able to actually continue this conversation. But there's still a decent amount of fighting left to be done here at New Sanctuary, because even the situation a little bit further southeast has seemingly cleared up. And I have to expect that that was very likely Liam and Jace finally finishing that elimination onto Xavier.
Now we can see if it's worth it when we tune into them. When Storage Surge pops up, Epic Whale Pump, even without that elimination at Riptide, you see them immediately try to rotate out of the zone. They know so many players usually do rotate around Battlewood, through Riptides, and even towards the north of Humble Hills, and they're just trying to get as much Surge as possible. But just like I was talking about Liam and Jace in that fight, if you keep trading shots, not getting elims and not getting the better, you're going to end up in a position like this. You're above the damage threshold, but only by 49.
It's really just the damage ratios that have been the peak storyline for this weekend, because teams that are just eating as many shots as they're sending out, it's difficult to try and stay even. But right now, Clicks, Higgs, utilizing everything they can off the map itself. A bit of campfire, try and get some health restoration here. They've got pizzas, they've got med kits, and it looks like they're fully intending on trying to make a dead side approach, or they might be looking to see if they can find Pix and Ghosts, who are known for sticking around in surge bases deep from Toy Box docks.
Yeah, and 186 damage, that's good for now. But as the game progresses, they're going to need to find just a little bit more. Salco, Minute, they fall further and further below that damage threshold. 394, essentially 2 full eliminations here are going to be needed by the team from NA West. And we know Minute, he's a good fighter. Salco, he can lead the pack, but right now it's go time, because when that Storm Surge activates, they're going to be on the clock to try to get some damage or the elimination. Salco breaks into the box, good damage on the Gone. He gets saved by Minute, but only for so long before Knight trades on that down. So it is going to come down to a 1v1. Minute looking to play aggressive, and it's going to be worth it.
But he might not even get to reap the benefits of this survival, because the third party has already decided to play an entrance here. Minute scrambling, trying to see if he can escape, but so much focus being sent his way, and now having to also deal with the surge itself. He doesn't even get a chance to try and heal up.
Just unfortunate, almost 500 below. They get one knock. They get another elim back-to-back from Minute, but he's still 229 below. That was just disaster waiting to happen. And this is where I say you just got to take as much control of your game plan as early as possible. And I think from the online majors to here, we're seeing more and more teams rotate to the zone early on so they can get the position and not have to get that max pull.
It's always just a little bit rough when you do finally win such a drawn-out battle, and then if it's not the third party fully clearing you up, you're still having to deal with the likes of Surge. But these are the sorts of adaptations that players just have to naturally try and overcome here. As Nathan, he'll at least have a little bit of Surge to work with, but the clock's ticking. He's got to make it into zone too, and there is a decent amount of traffic in front of him.
Yeah, he's just barely above. And honestly, that's actually pretty good for what Nathan and Nebs have been through so far in this game, being above the damage thresholds. A little bit of survives, but a pleasant surprise at that. Kurama and Akira, again, just barely above 73. That's not much, and that shot is surely going to put him below. GR Rex, surprise attack out of nowhere. Kurama just going to get the shot from the side, but even though they get that elimination, they are now still below the damage threshold, and there's other players pressuring in this direction, not wanting to let them get full HP and shield.
They want to see whether or not they'll have an opportunity to try and take out Hamed too, but instead they're fully aware of the fact that there is some action taking place just a little bit right from where they're currently faced up. Josh and Yamzo, though, find their first elimination onto Golden. They are above on Surge. It's really just about finding the perfect moment. You don't want to get lobbied on your next rotate in.
Yeah, this team right here is a little bit of a full circle moment of Josh and Iamzo. Years ago, Iamzo kind of being that fragger for Rise in the mix, getting close to the FNCS championship. And now Iamzo is that IGL, picking up the young fragger in Josh, who honestly has Clicks to thanks for popping his career, because it was Clicks who got on the PC and really started his whole trajectory. So for Iamzo and Josh, this needs to be a big day.
Pablo and Chino trailing just a little bit behind. Basin and Gerald were just spotted here at Battlewood Boulevard. They're gonna opt for a more low ground position currently. Definitely doing a great job at avoiding a lot of folks in the rest of the lobby. That is until Basin and Gerald finally spot them out inside a little sewer opening here, and now that's an open invitation. Everyone else in the lobby looking their way.
Yeah, kind of going from uncontested in the EU finals to here. Pablo and Gino just having a little bit of a struggle here in day one, and kind of breaking through the mold in day two. They just need a little bit more consistency. Vadil and Ju, same thing, 26 points, 118 above the damage threshold. Relatively close to it turning off, but a couple of quick tags there is going to put them right on the line. 32 damage above. They're making their way in towards zone. It's not going to be hard to find a spot there, but the next zone is really going to be everything, because if they get a max pull, good luck to them and their Surge clan.
Good luck to everybody in this lobby just about. There is so much congestion that is already pooled on this edge of the zone, but Vadil will have to find his own way forward here. Clicks and Higgs, they took the scenic route to make it into zone, but they're having to deal with so many Surge issues, and Clicks, he won't be able to make it out. That is just another sour ending here in game two.
Yep, but luckily for the format of today, it doesn't matter where you're at on the leaderboard. All you need to do is win a game, and as Frankie said, that's your golden ticket directly to Championship Sunday. But the pressure could be felt all around the arena today. When these players go down, you can feel it, Taco. The passion kind of playing out as Marius and I drop. They're feeling it as well. 12 below. It isn't much, but Storm Surge, you don't go down. You get straight eliminated out of the lobby, and with no heals left, he has 2 ticks he can take. Less than 14 seconds. I drop, has to make a play, but it gets denied.
He just did not have enough HP. It was... I don't want to say impossible, but it basically was, Jacob. At least he did the best with what he could. Still, they need to find more after the fact, but for everybody else still left in this lobby, the Nikush Tigs, they came in second in game one. They're obviously trying to see if they can secure that win. They've been feeling very confident from 100 ping to 0. Now is their best chance to strike. Is Velo working his way in backside of zone. Everybody looking his way, though. Doesn't really have a whole lot of options, and he'll be picked off before he gets the chance.
Yeah, big elim though for Vadil and Ju. That's their 3rd elimination of the game. That's 12 points straight off of their aggressive ability, and now they're inside of the top 25. Placement points are starting to come in, and with each and every team that falls, they start to cascade further and further, and of course, you get that 1,000 points for the victory royale. And it goes to show, like, looking at the leaderboards yesterday, I saw a team qualify to Sunday. It's just 3 decent games, but it doesn't feel like that in the moment.
What Vadil and Ju really did best there, though, was front side of zone, and they cleared a path for themselves. Everyone else is going to have to run straight to them, and they're doing a great job at just gatekeeping that edge of zone they were at. But Lucy Zangi will have a lot to overcome. They want to make it in, but it seems like disaster has struck. We look away for 1 second, Jacob, and all of a sudden, it's Vadil by himself. he at least has the pizza box to work with, but Pastroki, Repairs, Toyota, they're all making their way forward, and for what looked like a solid spot to be in, now might be worst case scenario, but Badil, we've seen the solo clutches before.
Yeah, and it's only 4 players that need to go down. You can attempt to out-heal this Pacino. He doesn't have the amount of heals needed to survive the Storm Surge. For now, it is going to be the med kit, but the zone is also moving in, but he gets a little bit of a cutback, extra time to work with, and it's time that he desperately needs because he's in on a clock, and that clock is running down fast. 3 more ticks. That's all he can take. Less than 20 seconds. Chino has to make a move. Nobody's falling, Taco. 4 players, and Storm Surge is no longer a worry.
And Chino, he's trying to see if he can get the shot, but he won't make it. A player lying in wait. He'll go down, but Badil still keeping the ball rolling here. 187 above, 1 pizza slice, 1 overdrive grenade, lurking, crouching, waiting, hoping that he can find another big shot. Everything at this stage, waiting to see if he can deliver another big win here, but Akira and Karama, they've at least found Liam, and that'll be enough to buy them some good time.
It feels like they're not forcing fights or eliminations. They're kind of letting the game naturally present itself. And there goes another one on the Repairs, back to back, as they take down Fastroki as well, but it comes with its own sacrifice. Akira is gonna fall. All the pressure now onto Karama's shoulders.
You look one way, you gotta make sure you're checking the next, and Badil takes down Visuals. That's the exact sort of refresh that he's hoping for. Every little bit of siphon materials to help catapult him forward, and now he's feeling confident enough. Why not take another layer up? He's trying to see if he can make it through on that secondary height position, and not only that, looking downwards, trying to see if he can gauge whether or not there's a player more in tatters than him for him to try and eliminate. He'll drop down, he's got the movement effects, waiting, but no options just yet.
And all that's going down below, Kodaside's gonna fall. Nutty and Gazzetta, they went ahead and Shockwave to take the high ground. There's a new team high up in the clouds that everybody has to worry about. Cut through the middle is gonna be King and Rage. They're trying to take position on the front side of the zone. Meanwhile, Vadil and Karama are doing their best as solos here. They're one of few solos actually left in this game.
As long as they can stay towards the front side, they might be able to make it out, but Ritual and Ager is now front side low. They'll have the best opportunity out of everyone to see who is more scraps than them. Ritual only has 1 build remaining, but Badil, he's found his target. He won't be able to bring it out, though, and that's going to be the end of the run here. Craze and Kindling, though, still making their way forward.
Yep, Nutty Gabs just not letting anybody down below feel comfortable, especially for those players on second height, as Virgo looking to go big, lands that 1 shot, but being by yourself means you have to play a little bit careful and a little less loose. Down below, those eliminations get steamrolled by King and Craze, but again, it all comes with a sacrifice. Now Craze is going to be left by himself. They have 5 eliminations. They're trying to push themselves into the top 5, and every single point matters. With Aegis of Ritual, they're going to get that elimination, but again, it costs them as well.
Ritual and Aegis thought they had that frontside control, but you just can't afford to look away. Now Virgo gonna try and send it onto high. Karama has fallen. Virgo won't make it out. Nudie and Gabzetta might just be finding themselves in the finals. Battle Bus, Jacob. All they need to do is seal the deal here up against Ritual.
Hey, he's gonna take the fight to that first shot.